Hello, viewer. Can you hear me? Oh, I cracked myself up. I knew it was Bonnie. Bonnie, it might just be me and you today, which I love. You get a little one-on-one session. I don't have my video on because my computer is getting incapable. So we're just gonna go video free. Hopefully that helps with the processing. Gotta do what you gotta do, that's right. I know that's right. Today I'm having some tea that my friend Lisa made. It's mullein, which I don't really know what the fuck that is, and elderberry. So it's good for the immune system and congestion. Not that I feel congested, but I'm in it for the immune benefits. Which reminds me, I gotta get my flu shot. Yikes. Oh, not blueberry, elderberry. Blueberry latte? What is that even? Does blueberry flavor and coffee flavor like go together? Yeah, it doesn't sound pleasant to me either. No. Nope, not at all. Okay. Let's get started then. As always, make sure you have a hydrating beverage. I also have a candle lit that I bought yesterday at Tres Ojos, which is a mystical shop that I enjoy. It's a lavender candle for anxiety ease and protection. Get your watercolors ready, Bonnie. Unless you're gonna surprise me and do something different. Today we're talking about the Chariot. I personally love the Chariot because it's all about getting shit done, striving toward your goals, doing it because you want to do it, willpower, achievement, determination. Oh, Bonnie, you're fighting with the watercolor container now. Okay, well, you have some time before we get started. As always, we gotta shout out Pamela Coleman Smith, who illustrated the most iconic tarot deck in the world. From my understanding of Pamela Coleman Smith's history, it is a classic case of history will say they were roommates. History will say they were roommates. we know the truth. Thank you, Pamela Coleman Smith, for this illustration of the Chariot. It's very beautiful, very powerful, and I love the bright blues that Pamela chose. It seems like she worked mostly in the primary colors of yellow, blue, and red. And I feel like green is the... Green is not technically a primary color, but green is always invited to the primary color party. It's just the truth. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the symbolism that Pamela Coleman Smith included in her illustration. So first and foremost, we have the charioteer. You'll notice that the charioteer is standing because this is a card of action. So the charioteer is not sitting down. They are wearing a crown for victory. Their crown is made up of laurels and a star, an 8-pointed star, right? Yeah. So anyone who's wearing laurels, you know that they've achieved greatness. They also have a gorgeous canopy above their head, decorated with stars that suggests celestial influences. So this person is, to the surprise of nobody, connected to the divine. They are holding a wand, which is giving magician vibes. And if you recall, the magician is the conduit between the divine and the earthly realm. So if we're viewing this as the fool's journey, the magician has stepped into this chariot. They have the cosmos at their back. They have been a conduit for the divine, and now they're ready to put it into action. On the front of the chariot are two wings, which represent inspiration. And then there's also the Hindu symbol of union. It's that little red symbol that you see. And a lot of these things that you see, you have seen in other cards that we've done. So in the major arcana, there's a lot of symbolism about union and duality and balance and harmony. So we have that reiterated with the two sphinxes in the front. And anytime you see duality in the tarot, it can be the duality of dark and light, positive and negative. Choice and destiny. And what I found interesting in my research of this card was that these sphinxes are facing opposite directions. And that shows that sometimes you'll have like competing forces trying to draw you in different directions. Like if we're talking about choice and destiny in particular, sometimes those things can feel conflicting. But the power of the charioteer is that they command both, and can command both to lead them where they want to go. And then in the back you see the river. Again, this is a symbol that has appeared in previous cards. I believe it started in the High Priestess, flowing from the subconscious, and is now flowing here in the Chariot. That can represent flow, like the creative flow, the flow of inspiration. Ever since I learned about the High Priestess card and how the water flows from the subconscious, I just kind of think of it as the subconscious. Ideas, energy flowing. So that's the basis of Pamela Coleman Smith's illustration, and I found out all about that from The Complete Guide to the Tarot by Eden Gray, and of course biddytarot.com. I like the way those two sources break down each element within the card. Although I am interested in finding a different source that is authored by a Black woman. So maybe that'll be something that I look into. Okay. It'd be great if I could find something written by Pamela Coleman Smith herself, but I'm not sure if that exists. We'll have to see. Bonnie, are you done fighting with your watercolor container? Are you ready to go? If history was written better, you would, yeah. Oh, you won the battle. That's so great to hear. Okay, we're gonna start making our Chariot card. I'm using a classic Tonka truck to go along with my aesthetic of toys and cartoon characters and nostalgia. Because at this point I'm just committed to the bit. Even though at this point the nostalgia of it all is kind of like so passe. Everybody's doing it. It gives actual Chariot, yeah. It does. And I'm excited because I feel like it's gonna challenge me. Because so far I've done like human slash animal, human-like animals and characters, so this is, I think, the first inanimate object that I'm doing. It will still have a skirt, earrings, and lashes. Oh, to be known is to be loved. Alright. So, let's start thinking about how we want to represent achievement, willpower, determination. And I wanted to start just by chatting about what does willpower mean to you? Because I have a feeling that willpower feels different for everybody. And so I think that's an important place to start. What is willpower to you? Is it an action? Is it a feeling? Is it something that is you or separate from you? Where does it come from? Bonnie said, resisting and pushing toward a goal without caving. Ooh. I like that. terminology without caving. In other words, it's never giving up, right? My willpower feels very intrinsic to me. I feel like I was born with a shit ton of willpower, and it has just always lived within me. Like on the other side, on the other hand, like I have a hard time imagining what it would be like to not be familiar with willpower. But I don't want to like discredit that or like invalidate anybody's experience. It would just be hard for me personally to imagine my life without my sense of will. Bonnie said you are very strong-willed and bold. Yeah, my willpower definitely feels very bold. Like it's a bright color. It I had this vision of like it feels hot, if that makes sense. And to me, willpower means like having an idea or having a desire, a vision, if you will, inspiration, so to speak. And to me, willpower means it's the energy that makes that happen. It's the energy of I have this thing that I want, or this thing that I want to do, and the willpower comes in and says, "This is how we're gonna do it." You think it's solid like a rock and stable? Ooh. See, I love chatting about this stuff with you because you have such a different perspective. And it makes a lot of sense too. Even when you said not caving in, like I literally pictured a cave which is made of rock and is solid and stable. It was giving very mountain. A mountain that cannot be moved. But yeah, mine is very flowy. So maybe we'll start with that. And even in the Tonka picture that I chose, like the logo and everything has the colors of fire, reds and oranges and yellows. Nothing is cooler than a taco with flames on the side. You know it. You knew exactly what I was about to do. I feel like this one was pretty good, but one thing that I wish a capability I wish Canva had was the ability to like change perspective. Like I would imagine stretching this object and making it feel slanted so I could put it on the side of the truck. But it actually doesn't look bad as it is. But dear Canva, if you're listening, user feedback from your most loyal of customers. Canva sponsor the channel. It's funny because you are literally the only person who will see this. And I guess if Miranda watches the replay, Let's see. I love a good color match, so I'm just gonna go ahead and steal this orange. And then, ooh. I guess it didn't really do what I wanted it to do. Ooh. That's better. Oh, that's kind of cool. This is where I love layers, so I can select. Oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. My Tonka truck now has flames. I think I'm gonna make them a little bit smaller though. I do like the flames on the side of the Tonka truck, but when I'm thinking about my willpower, it feels more translucent. So I'm gonna also add some like smoke or something around the tires. Oh, you know what I could do? I wonder if I could get it to come out of these little spigots, or whatever the heck they are. That feels so aggressive though. I'm really wanting something a little bit lighter. The depth is insane. You want to rewatch it when you're not me. Thank you. I made it look engraved. That's exactly what I was going for, so crushed it. Listen, the things you can do with layers is kind of crazy. Like, if you look at any of my Canva designs, it'll probably be at least 20 layers. Ooh, this is better because it's less of a swoopy. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Yeah, this feels more like my willpower. Just like a little wispy red flowing through my body. I think for me it's like wispy and translucent because that makes it, to me, that's more like free flowing, I guess. Because one thing that I have learned in my on my journey is like I need to be flexible to change. And even though I am strong-willed, that doesn't mean I'm inflexible. I know how to pivot. Because if I'm like going after something, I will do whatever it takes to get there, even if I have to like keep changing my approach. I feel your willpower is an energy that comes to you when you need it, whereas I view it as a muscle I need to train. Oh. First of all, you're not wrong because that's your willpower you're talking about. You know it best. And I can definitely see it as a muscle. It's one of those things that if you're not like exercising it, quote unquote, it can be hard to recognize. And you don't need to be strong-willed in every situation, so it's good to know when you need it and when you don't need it. Okay, this isn't exactly doing what I wanted it to do. Maybe it's less about training your willpower and more about training, or just like, what was I gonna say? Like learning how to work with it. I don't know about that, Bonnie. Maybe I'll just put it out here like it's coming from the exhaust. Yeah, well, that's good enough for now. It gives it kind of like some forward momentum. All right. How does it feel to be dedicated to a goal? So for this one, I would recommend picking a specific example, like think about a goal that you actually do have or a goal that you have had in the past. And think about how it felt to work towards that goal, or how it feels to work towards it now. Whether you're using a previous example or a current example. How does it feel in your mind and in your body? Depends on the progress for me. If the goal is going well, it feels great, but if it isn't going as planned, it can be very discouraging. That's so true. And in those moments, it can be very tempting to cave and give up. I would agree with that. Like, I'm thinking about, for me, Limitless and Resurrection. Those are two pretty major goals that I had recently. And when things weren't going as planned, ooh, that feels very challenging to me. When I am dedicated to a goal like Resurrection or Limitless, like, I would say for the most part, I love that feeling. I love having something to work towards and like seeing myself get there. Like, that to me is one of the most fulfilling parts of life. But similar to what you're saying, Bonnie, is like when I'm dedicated to a goal, there's also a lot of room for self doubt and criticism and judgment. So even though I feel very strongly about my goal, and even if I am in love with the feeling of like knowing this is what I want, there's still a lot of voices that say, you know, you're not enough, you're not doing enough, you're not this, you're not that. It's not worth it. Those are some of the voices in my head. You just have to remember, if you give up, it will have a 0% chance of success. Period. Also, done is better than perfect. So compromising your vision is better than stopping altogether. We may not take credit for every positive. Oh, dear Miranda, if you're watching the replay, what I'm reading is Bonnie's commentary. We may not take credit for every positive or success, but we always blame ourselves for setbacks. Ooh. Yeah. I feel like for this reflection, like, Bonnie, you and I are very aligned. Whereas the first one, we had different ideas, but I feel like we're in the same boat here. And then at the same time, like, being dedicated to a goal means overcoming those setbacks and perhaps compromising, like you said, Bonnie. And in the moment, that can feel hard to like accept. But based on my experience, like when something is done, when something is finished, when I have achieved a goal, looking back, I can feel proud of myself for overcoming that self-criticism. I can feel happy with the way that I did compromise, even at the moment it felt like the whole project was falling apart. They say hindsight is 20/20. So as I'm chatting, it feels like to be dedicated to a goal, there's a lot of like conflicting voices. And it reminds me of in Pamela Coleman Smith's illustration of those two sphinxes, the dark and the light. I mean, that's basically what it is. The duality of it all. So let's see, how do I want to represent duality in my chariot? When I think about duality and like all of these complexities that we're talking about, like I imagine it as like a sphere. You know those like metal spheres where it's like just a bunch of rings around each other? So that's what I'm picturing. So maybe I can see if Canva has that. I'm gonna try metal rings. Kind of like that, but like more of it. What if I type in ring sphere? Like this. Does this thing have a name? Because I would like to be able to just search for that. Suppose I could like make one manually. I guess I'm viewing this as like a hood ornament kind of thing. Oh, That's hilarious. See, I want this, but in a different style. Canva does have a new feature where you can change the style of something. It uses AI, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do, you know? It is pretty cool. I am what some people call an AI bully. So I don't endorse the use of this feature. But I am choosing to use it for this particular element. I hate when I find the perfect graphic, but the style is not aesthetic. Exactly. And I would be able to work around that if I had a word for whatever this was called. But I simply don't, so I can't do my usual searches. Do you remember that show Pimp My Ride? Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. Alright, I need it to stand out a little bit more, so I'm going to put a light in the background. Just like that, I guess. That's the one. Oh, Bonnie, I'm so glad you're here with me today. Okay. Boom. Got a hood ornament on my Tonka truck. Next. Where do you see yourself going from here? Ooh. So the chariot is all about direction. It's about momentum, moving forward. And one of the things that I really liked, I often reference the Neo Tarot. Oh yeah, I cited it as a source up here. The Neo Tarot by Jericho Mandibur. I always think about her interpretation of the chariot because she said, sometimes you have to stop and get out of the chariot and walk for a little bit. She ate with that. And then you can decide to get back in the chariot and go and like keep going. So I really wanted to include a conversation around that. Is where do you see yourself going? Do you see yourself needing to like stop the chariot for a sec and like get out and stretch your legs? Feed your horses or whoever is driving your chariot? Feed your willpower? Do you need to like stop at an inn for the night before you keep going? Or do you feel sustained and like you have enough to keep going already? Do you see yourself in a place where you're like, okay, yes, this is exactly like this is where I'm going and I'm gonna keep going there. I'm ready. Let's do it. Keep driving that chariot. And if so, where's that chariot going? What are you working towards? What is a goal that you have right now that you are acting to achieve? Oh, here we go, Bonnie. Bonnie says, one thing I really want to change is being more present in the moment. Also, changing my perception about things and embracing chaos and lack of control and just enjoy the moment instead of trying to fix everything to match my perceptions. So, from this moment on, Bonnie, like after we log off for the day, after we're done with our little session, what is your next step? Is there something that you can do to try being more present in the moment or releasing control? Is that something you're working on methodically, or is that just something you have in the back of your mind? For me, where am I going? Where do I see myself going from here? Well, I've been using Limitless as an example, and I think that's just the most obvious example for me in my life right now. And I've been putting in a lot of work. Yesterday, I went around to a bunch of local businesses. Shoutouts to Ashton for driving me around town. And I passed out flyers and said, hey, can you hang up this flyer in your store? And a lot of people were excited about it. And I told everyone to bring their friends. And afterwards, I was reminding myself, like, I'm doing enough. I've done enough today. And I feel like that's where I see myself going after this call. I have a little bit of time, like a little break, and then I have a um, a call for Heal Your Way Forward. We have a workshop today. And I also need to get groceries, and I want to work out, so there's like a lot of other things I want to do today, but I think what I really need for myself is to like pause and say, I've done enough today, or I've done enough this weekend, and I need to rest. I need to rest this evening, and whenever I can throughout the day. I do need to get groceries. Like, that is a basic life necessity. So unfortunately, that is something I have to do. But yeah, I think I am seeing myself like I feel like my chariot has been like speeding down the track, dust flying, this red smoke billowing up behind me, and I see myself like slowing down and just saying, speed limit 15 miles per hour. We're in a school zone. And I think by like slowing down to that lower speed limit, it'll be easier to stop and rest rather than going from 100 to 0. Like, I feel like I've just entered like the residential neighborhood. I'm driving my chariot to the inn, passing all the villagers. And I'm just slowing down and getting ready to turn in for the night. Let's see what Bonnie is saying. Bonnie said, it is mostly a work goal, to be honest, so when the class is wild or not meeting my expectations, but it isn't a big deal, just letting go. Stop putting pressure to demand so much of myself and others. Also, just letting go of perfection in general. Yeah, I think that's a lifelong process. And Bonnie will be playing video games after this. Yay! Yeah, you gotta take breaks. Gotta care for yourself. So when I picked the Tonka truck, I really imagined adding some like flower garlands or something. Or maybe even adding just like a bushel of flowers in the back of the truck. And I think I'm going to use that for this prompt because to me, flowers represent like slowing down and gentleness, and I mean, flowers are also hella resilient. They start out as seeds, little tiny seeds that take a lot of work to nurture, a lot of specific care instructions, if you will. And they're just slow and steady, and they bloom when they need to bloom, and they stop blooming when they need to stop blooming. So yeah, I think flowers are a great symbol for this prompt of like where I'm going, where I'm heading. And I just love to stop and smell the flowers. So as I'm like slowing my chariot down, driving through town, heading to the inn, maybe I'll stop at some people's gardens, as I do in real life, in my neighborhood, as I'm walking around. Just stop and admire people's gardens. So let's see. What are you playing these days, Bonnie? Digimon Cyber Sleuth. Whoa. That sounds awesome. What platform is that on? Okay. Okay. Is that watercolor? I have another recommendation for Canva. In the advanced filters section, I would love to filter out. I would love to be able to filter objects by style because I almost never, ever want a watercolor object. Almost. And I would love to just be able to filter those out. Like, don't even suggest that to me. Get out of here with your cutesy watercolor painting. Oh, it is on Switch. Okay. I might have to look into that myself. Love a good mystery. I'm assuming it's a mystery since you're sleuthing. You know, I might just have to make this by hand. Again with the watercolor. Get out of here. A new game in the series dropped and is beating Pokemon by a long shot, so a good day for Digimon fans. Cute. Cute, 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 cute. Okay, I need to make my own flower garland, I guess. So. Because that's simply. Actually, that is kind of cute. At first I thought it was just like a cartoon, but it looks like it's actually a 3D. Yeah. Shall I add another one? Okay, Tonka. I don't love that, but it's time to move on. I was imagining like hydrangeas, to be honest. Okay, the last prompt is who in your life helps you succeed? I added this because I'm adding my own interpretation to the Chariot. And as I was researching this card, I did not like how solitary this person is. Because When I personally consider achievement and success and determination and working towards a goal, for me, that is not something that can happen in solitude. I need my community around me to help me reach my goals. That's just a fact. And so I wanted to disrupt this, like, Pamela Coleman Smith, I love you. So much respect to you. But I'm going to add my own flavor to the Chariot and say we need more people in there. We do. It is a group effort. Whatever the goal is, it's a group effort. So, who in your life helps you succeed? Bonnie said you can always use Google Images and then remove background feature when the Canva. Oh, yeah. Yes, and that's what I do when I have my like I got this Tonka truck from Google. So maybe I can go back and find a flower garland. But that is a project for another time. And actually, for the past couple of these tarot cards, I haven't gone back and tweaked them. So for now, they just exist as they are. But there are things that I would change. Okay. Who in my life helps me succeed? Well, obviously you, Bonnie. And whoever else is watching this. Miranda. Miranda. My A squad. My A squad, my community, my best friends, and definitely the Heal Your Way Forward Collective. Those are my people. Bonnie said me. Bonnie's family, especially her sister, her friend Tiff. Hey Tiff. I hope to see Tiff here again someday. And coworkers. So you need to remind her now. Yeah. Truly no worries. For me, the image came pretty clearly just now, and I'm imagining the truck bed of my Tonka truck just being full of food. Kind of like a cornucopia, actually. Because when I think of my community helping me succeed, it's very nourishing. It's very like, you fill my cup, I fill yours. It's very family potluck dinner. We're all contributing something. We're all getting what we need. We're all like, it's an exchange. It feels like giving and getting. And also when I think about meals with friends, what was I gonna say? There's like that collective energy, I guess. So I'm gonna turn my Tonka truck into a cornucopia. Gonna throw a pear in there. Bonnie, what food item do you want to represent you? pumpkin spice latte. That's so funny because I was adding a pumpkin for Miranda too. You both are pumpkin spice girlies. Yep, you knew it. You knew it already. Also the spooky one would kind of represent you too. But Miranda, I don't think is into Halloween like that, like you are. Perfect. Obviously, it's not to scale. Okay. Next, well, let me pick something for myself. What do I want to bring to the cornucopia? I'm gonna bring some bread so we can have some like bread and jam. Oops. I also feel pretty strongly that you know how there's like that icebreaker question that's like, if you owned a restaurant, what would it be? That is something I do fantasize about a lot. It's one of those, like, yes, I have a lot of dreams and goals and ambitions, but sometimes it's nice to just fantasize. And I like to think about owning a restaurant, knowing that I probably won't. Like, that's not something I actually really want to do, but it's fun to just dream about and like picture for myself. And when I think about owning a restaurant, it would definitely be like my specialty would be sandwiches, like all day sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches, lunch sandwiches, sandwiches for dinner. Is this watercolor? Yeah. Again, I don't want it. Ooh, a croissant. I like that actually. And when I envision my restaurant, it's very like we try to minimize food waste, and so like whatever we make for like dinner, for example, we'll keep, and then the next day that will be used for the breakfast sandwich because I love using leftovers and turning them into like a breakfast brunch sandwich. It's just something about it. And so we would definitely have a lot of like leftovers sandwiches. Just take any leftovers and throw them on a piece of bread, and it works. Bonnie said, I love Mexican food because you can make so many with the same ingredients. Yeah, true. Tough brew. Gonna add a little jam jar. Just, really just for the pop of color, to be honest. that jam doesn't look good. Like, why are there so many seeds in there? Is that even jam? Like, what is that texture? Creeping me out. Okay, I don't want to use that. That's better. Just like a little peekaboo. I need something kind of big. Would it be crazy to throw a whole roast chicken in there? Oh wait, you're vegetarian. I guess it could be. Oh, maybe I should add some pasta back there. Just pasta spilling out of the truck. Throw a whole live chicken. Okay, so we get eggs from them too. Okay. Oh, I think I'm just going to use a real picture for this one. And I don't need a whole body because it's just going to be poking its head up. That's so funny. But I do kind of like that one the best, so. Bonnie, did you know that there's a chicken run too? I just learned that a couple weeks ago when I was visiting Lissa in Albuquerque. I personally love chicken run. But the sequel sucked. So I guess I'm not that surprised. Got the chicken going on back there. Bonnie is usually a sucker for a Disney direct-to-DVD sequel. I can see that. Okay, one more thing to fill the space back here. I'm imagining like a watermelon or maybe a head of lettuce. Oh, maybe some kale. Let's throw some kale back there. Lady and the Tramp 2 Scamp's Adventure Will Never Be Beat. It's the full title for me. Put some respect on that. Lady and the Tramp 2 Scamp's Adventure. So yeah, this cornucopia back here just kind of represents all the nourishment I get from the people around me. the nourishment I give to myself as well. And since my thing is kind of like party planning, quote unquote, um, if it's, part of my gift is bringing together people over food, you can't have a party without food. That's just a plain fact. So I kind of like that it represents that too. I kind of like my chariot. It's giving Meals on Wheels. And that's that. It is, but it also takes a community. Yep. Thank you for indulging me. I'm gonna pause for a sec to see if you can upload a picture of yours, but no pressure. So I don't think going off video really helped all that much because I got disconnected from the internet multiple times throughout the stream anyways, so I don't know what's going on with that. I will work on my flower garland. I did Google it, but it's just not giving. Blue. Let's keep it like that for now. I see Bonnie's making some moves. Maybe I'll add some sparkles. It's never done without some sparkles. Okay, not that many though. Boom. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. I'm so excited to see what your fool character is getting up to in the Chariot. Okay. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Yeah, I think the flame on the side of the truck actually really fits, so. But my suggestion to Canva still stands. Okay, Bonnie's done. Let's take a look. It's in a book, The Reading Rainbow. I didn't expect to like mine as much as I do, so that makes me feel good. Okay. Bonnie. In a world of light and dark, the Chariot must use their willpower to resist all temptation and keep walking in the light. I like that your Chariot character is sitting down. And I like that you included the Sphinx. Your Chariot guy is so like happy. I love to see him. I love to see them smiling. They've gone through a lot so far, so it's nice to see them smile. With their pet at their side. The feathers falling around is an interesting choice. I like that the movement of the image is in the feathers and not in the person. He needed a break. He has been busy. I also feel like sitting is a very strong position. Period. I mean, the Emperor is sitting, the Empress is sitting, the High Priestess is sitting. There's definitely a lot of power to be sat. Angemon was always my favorite Digimon, so there's a little inspiration coming from that. Oh, I see it, I see it. It looks like this, it looks like the Chariot is in some sort of palace with the tiled floor. And he's taken off his crown and put it on his Sphinx. Taking a break. You don't know that he's actually the Emperor. Yeah, he continues to refuse to wear the crown. Maybe he'll finally be wearing the crown in the world card. Or maybe not. Alright, my dear. Thanks again for playing. Go have fun playing video games. I'm gonna make my grocery list so that I can be prepared. Rest for a sec. Alrighty. Much love. Bye.